And in terms of the Eagles, obviously being able to get Saquon Barkley and plug him into their system that has been retooled in a way with Kellen Moore and Sirianni now taking on more of that CEO role, supposedly, with on offense and defense. But Barkley, Joe, I'd love to get your 2 cents on that maneuver, because most of us in the football world and certainly in the punditry world think that is one of the biggest mistakes we've ever seen by a franchise, to let Saquon walk. But, the Giants have their own setup and their own concept of what works, and certainly, might not have been able to use Saquon to the same effect based on what their standing was. What's your opinion of that Saquon maneuver, Joe?
I'm totally with you. Hard to understand and a huge mistake, which many thought it was at the time. Listen, here's the simple part of this. First, you drafted him at 4. You knew in 5 years he was going to be really expensive. The only thing that changed is he had a lot of injuries. He looked like the star player you drafted when he was healthy and playing, even behind a very deficient offensive line for all of those years. And obviously, the Eagles provided reasons that he's more successful than he would have been if he stayed at the Giants. But the Eagles, and this goes back a long time, have never paid a running back a ton of money and never drafted one really high, but have always cherished running backs. I mean, when I got there, we traded for Gricky Waters. I mean, we had Deuce Staley. We drafted Brian Westbrook, Shady McCoy. By the way, re-signed 3 of the players I just mentioned to you at top of the market running back deals, which has always been less than everything else. But here's the simple point. $12 million a year buys you a solid tight end, a solid safety, a decent guard. A good guard costs $21 million a year right now. A Pro Bowl guard is $21 million a year right now. So you take a guy that you're putting behind a great offensive line in a scheme that can be flexible and play run or pass and still be sticking to the core principles of the coaches. And you add a guy that's capable, if healthy, of being a top 3 running back in the NFL. I mean, my question is really, why weren't 31 other teams pursuing it? Because if you think of just the running back market, okay, $12 million is what the ballpark of a lot of people got. But guys like, Chubb and Mixon, who are good players, but they're not Barkley at all, had gotten that kind of money 3 or 4 years ago. So I know the Eagles looked at it as a steal for what they were potentially getting. And the risk reward, so if they were wrong, he played well in some games, got hurt in other games, wasn't somebody they could count on consistently. Remember, they've been playing with mediocre running backs and going to the Super Bowl because they're effective in their system. They can impact the game both running and passing. The biggest play of the game against the Rams, by the way, was a 3rd and 14 from the 4-yard line. They threw Barkley a screen pass. He gets the first down. They happen to hit the Rams blitzing. I mean, these are the things that he brings to the table. $12 million a year. We have guys that were signed up to make $8, $10, $12 million a year. And what did the Giants do with the money? They signed, I would say, an okay guard who didn't even play that great. I mean, how do you make that choice? We're going to use this money, and they desperately need to improve the offensive line then and now. But the mystery to me is, one, what you said, what were the Giants thinking? How do they rationalize this? I understand they knew they weren't going to be good for a few years. But there was reason to think that if he could stay healthy 2, 3, 4 years from now, he could still be contributing. In the meantime, he provides you all the advantages of his leadership, his ability to keep your defense off the field, forcing the defense to play you a certain way that with somebody like Jones at quarterback was really advantageous. But I'm also like, where were all the other teams in the league? How did this guy not get meaningful money in a structure that maybe protect the team a little bit, but gave you an opportunity to have a top 3 running back? I really think the answer is top 1, but I'm trying to be generous and say top 3 in a running back in the entire league.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.